another thing that I learned today, and I gave it a chance. Like sometimes you'll experience things and you be like, dang, this situation seems so familiar. But then you try to give it a chance and maybe it's not familiar, maybe it's just coincidence. But what I've learned about people, especially people who go to church, especially people who say that they got spiritual gifts, is that sometimes they get caught up in their ego. Extremely caught up in your ego. And what I mean when I say this is that some people think that they prophets. So you'll notice that every time you say something or anytime somebody says something, they try to come at the situation like as if they already seen it. Like everything that you do, they already done seen. And they got an answer for everything. I don't understand how you got an answer for everything. Everything that we do, you seen it already. And it's like, some people say that to try to validate who they are. And some people say that they already seen it because they want you to be under their control. They want you to look at them as if they have something that you need or something of value. But what I've learned, I noticed it with a couple of people in my past, where you might get some type of success or some type of victory, and people say, "I told you so. I knew it." But you ain't never knowed it when I was going through it. You ain't never know it when I thought of it. You ain't never know it when God was doing it. You just know it after the fact. So it's not, to me, that's not prophecy. Prophecy is when you prophesy to a person, and then what you prophesy to that person comes to pass, and now that person knows that you said that something was going to happen. Now you kind of predicted what was going to happen. But you coming after the fact saying that that's what you knew was going to happen. We all got an idea. We all got our own ideas how we think things should play out. But what if everybody walked around saying that I knew that was going to happen? I knew that was going to happen. What if everybody says that? Things happen. And we don't control those things. God does. Every good thing comes from God. We got to stop trying to take credit for the things that God do. We looking for every opportunity to take credit for something that God did. And then we want to make it as if their prayers and their desires is the reason why it happened. But God get the glory, not you. Anytime you do that, it's like you taking the credit away from God and you giving yourself the credit. You trying to put yourself in the position of God. God don't need no help. When a person gets blessed, it was because they were supposed to get blessed. You can't control my blessing. You can't control nobody's blessing. Either God is going to do or God ain't going to do. We can't control God. We can't put God. But we try so hard to take the place of God. We try so hard to tell people what they should do. We try so hard to take credit for what God do. We try so hard to take credit for what other people do too. God created everything that exists, and everything that exists is in existence because of what God did. So that bad person that turned to a good person turned into that good person because that was his choice, not your choice. That was his choice, and that's what God had for that person. It don't matter what you think about the situation. It don't matter what you think about the situation, because God is going to do what God does. It ain't about you. Never was. But people try to make it about themselves. I remember one time I had a court situation going on. People in the church called on this other guy to come talk to me about my situation, only to find out after hearing him talk and running his mouth for like 2 or 3 hours that he was a broken man. He had a lot of broken things happen to him in his life. He dead now, but he was a broken man. He was a broken man that was dealing with a lot of fleshly things. But people held him up to a high esteem. I didn't. He was just a man to me. But after I received my victory and after God gave me what I was supposed to have, he says, I told you, watch my smoke. And it was like he was taking the credit for God. Too many people have an ego problem where they think that they can take the credit of God. They really think that they're the ones. You're not the one. God is the one. You're just an individual. You're just an individual. You're not the one. God is the one. You're a fabric of God. You're just a piece of God. You are God's creation, inner and outer. But you can't do what God do. You can't do what God do. You can't take credit for what God took, what God did. And if we as people are not careful, we'll live our entire life waiting for somebody to pray for us, waiting for somebody to counsel us, waiting for somebody to tell us what we know what we should be doing in the first place. You can do all things through Christ is who strengthens me. That don't mean that you can do all things halfway or you need somebody to help you with it. You can do all things. You can do it. All you got to do is believe it. Because when God created Jesus, which is the Son of God, he also created us, which are the children of God. Some people look at Jesus as being God, but Jesus is just the Son of God, as we are the children of God. Jesus was sent just like we were sent. Every last one of us were sent. Everybody was sent. We're sent here. We were created to be here. If you listen and hearing this, you're here because you're sent. You were created. As soon as you were born, you're created to be here. Now, what you do when you get here is going to be determined by your choices. What do you believe about yourself? Most of you people don't believe anything about yourself because your identity is based off of things outside of yourself. But I'm here to tell you that God put inside of everybody everything that they need to be whatever it is they want to be. You can be whatever it is that you want to be, good or bad. That's why people can do what they want to do and be what they want to be, and they become what they want to become because they decide. They believe it. What do you believe about yourself? If your situation is the way it is and you want to change it and it's not changing, it's because it's something that you're believing about yourself. It's something that you're doing every single day that caused you to have the life that you have. What do you believe about yourself? Everybody has something that they do that cause whatever it is that happened in their life to happen. Everybody has something in their life that they do. What do you do? Are you broken? Do you feel incomplete? Do you feel inconsidered? What's your problem? Because as soon as you fix your problem, as soon as you identify your problem, you can fix it. And once you fix your problem, your life gets better. But it's not until you find yourself is when your life truly gets better. It doesn't, you won't get happy just because you got you get married, or you get a career, or you get the job you always wanted, or you get a whole lot of money. That's not going to bring you happiness and peace. The happiness and peace comes from within when you realize that you are God's fabric. You are every element of God. You are the child of God. This is for those who want to believe the words that I'm saying. If you don't believe it, of course you're not a child of God. But you have to believe the words that I'm saying in order for them to even exist or be real. Everything that goes on in our mind is what make our reality real. If you don't believe that God is real, then God is not real and not even going to be effective in your life. Because you don't believe God is real. You don't believe it even exists. So it does not exist if you don't believe it. So when you're going through your sickness and your pain and your struggles and your chaos, you don't have no type of refuge because you don't believe. You don't believe that there's a good and a bad. You don't believe there's a consequence to every action. You don't believe that there's repercussions to the things that you do or consequences. You gotta believe. Especially if you want to be set free. I'm done with this video.